right, this is Math 208, Week 3, Section 3.5, using given information to write the slope-intercept form of a line. So we're being asked to write the equation of this line. Okay, so now, what this slope-intercept form means we're going to have an equation, and that equation is always y is equal to mx plus b. All right. Now, what m is, that's our slope. And we know about slope from our previous videos. And b is your y-intercept. All right. And so, now what that means. So we're going to look at our line here. And the slope probably is, well, they're both easy to find. So let's find the slope first. So as we look, and I'm going to zoom in a lot, and I'm going to use green, and I'm going to choose this dot, and we're going to talk about the rise and the run. And we can see that the rise is 2, the run is 1. So our slope, and you remember we always use the letter m, our slope is 2 over 1, which is the same thing as 2. So our slope in this case is a whole number. It's 2. So when I get back out here, so I'm going to take our equation, and y stays the same, but that m can be replaced with a 2, and the x stays the same. So really the only two numbers we're going to be replacing is the m and the b. And now we know it's the m is replaced with a 2 because we looked at the slope over here. And it wouldn't have mattered which two dots we chose. We would have always ended up with a slope of 2. Now, what the heck is this b? What the heck is this y-intercept thing? Well, what the y-intercept thing is where does this blue line crash into the y-axis? So remember, this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. So we want to know, where does this blue line crash into the y-axis? And we can see it's right there. Boom. And it's at -4. So we're going to replace this b, this plus b, this positive b, we're going to replace it with a -4 because that's the intercept. So the slope is 2, the intercept is -4. So our equation becomes y equals 2x minus 4, and that's what you're going to put in this box right here. All right, so now we have a new line here, and we're being asked to find the slope-intercept. So what's really cool is they've given us the two dots that we are going to use to figure out our slope. And remember, what are we doing here? We want to use the slope-intercept format, and we're going to find the slope and replace m with the slope. Then we're going to find the intercept of this line, the y-intercept, and replace b with the y-intercept. So first thing we're going to do is find the slope. So we're going to go from this dot down to this dot. So our rise is actually a negative because it's going down. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our slope, our rise, is actually a -9, and our run is a really dinky one. It's just a 1. And so our slope is -9 over 1, and -9 over 1 simplifies to just -9. So that means our equation is going to be, we're going to replace the m with -9. Now we need to figure out what our y-intercept is. So remember what the y-intercept is where does this blue line, in this case, it's blue. Where does it cross over over the y-axis? Where does it cross and crash into the y-intercept? And we can see that it's up here, right here, and we see that it's at 7. And it happens to be a positive 7. So our y-intercept, we're going to write positive 7, and that is your equation in, that is your slope-intercept form for this line. And again, we're being asked to find the slope-intercept format for this line. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the slope of this line, and we know it's positive. And so I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to see that, well, going from here to here, I see that the rise is 2 and the run is 2. So our slope is 2 over 2, which equals 1. So our slope is equal to 1. So that means our equation is going to be 1x. And now I need to figure out what is our y-intercept. Where does that line crash into the y-axis? And you see it, it crosses right here at 0. So technically it's plus 0. But this really can be simplified. And we're going to simplify it to y is equal to x. Why is that? Well, because 1 times x is x. We don't need the 0, to add the 0, because it doesn't change the value. So our equation is y equals x. All right, now we're going to find the slope-intercept of this line. And remember, our formula is y equals mx plus b. And so we want to first find the slope of that line. So we're going to go from this point to this point, and our rise looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. If you don't believe me, starting here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the run is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our run is going to be 5. So our slope is 4/5, or positive 4, because we went up 4 over 5. So our slope is 4/5. So what does that mean? It means over here, y is equal to, we're going to replace that m with 4/5, and that x stays the same. Now we need to figure out what our y-intercept is. So we're going to zoom in, and we see that this line is crossing the y-intercept, the y-axis at, oh gee whiz, I got a lot of writing here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's crossing right there at 4. And so we know that the y-intercept is positive 4. So that means I'm going to replace this plus b with a plus 4, and that is our equation in slope-intercept form. So this y equals mx plus b thing is something you definitely have to memorize. So here we're kind of going backwards. Instead of them giving us the line, now they're giving us the information, and we have to create the line. So remember, y is equal to mx plus b. And they're telling us that the m is 1 and the b is negative 4. So we've got 1x minus 4, which can be simplified to be y is equal to x minus 4. So that's the line, right? So now we need to graph it. And what is that going to look like? Well, that negative 4 means our line is going to cross at negative 4. So I'm going to put a dot right there, because that's where our line crosses. Now the question is, does it go up? Does it go down? What is it going to look like? And so because our slope is 1. Now remember, slope is rise over run, and since our slope is 1, that's really saying our rise is 1 over 1. All right, so that means we're going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So let's zoom in, and let's do it in blue. And so our slope goes up 1 over 1, put a dot. And then it goes up 1 over 1, put a dot. And then it's going to go up 1 over 1, put a dot. And that is the way our line is going to look. It's going to keep going like that. And so I can just continue making our line right there. And that is what it's going to look like. So the two things we were supposed to find. Here's what the equation is, and here's what the line is going to look like. So down here it says the equation of the line is, and that's where you're going to take this thing and put it right here. Y is equal to x minus 4. All right, so now we are told that the slope is negative 1/3 and the y-intercept is a positive 7. So it's really easy to write our equation. Y is equal to mx plus b. And now we're just going to replace the m with negative 1/3. And we're going to replace the b with positive 7. So this ends up being negative 1/3 x plus 7. So what does that look like in our graph? Well, since the y-intercept is a 7, that tells us that we know that it's going to crash into the y-axis right here at 7. And then we know it's going to go down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, because that's what that slope is. So it's going to go down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3. And you can see there's our nice line. And there are the two things that we were supposed to do. So our formula goes right here, and then your line is right here. So remember, plus 7 means it starts right up here, and the negative 1/3 means it goes down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, etc. So we have been given a slope and an intercept right here, and we're being asked to sketch the line. So one of the things is, okay, first off, you know that y is equal to mx plus b. All right, and so we look and we see that our slope is 7/10, and so that's going to be 7/10 x. And then we see that our b, our y-intercept is 0. So I don't need to put plus 0. I could if I wanted, but really this is my formula for the slope-intercept formula for this line. So now what does that mean for our graph? Well, where are we going to start drawing this line? Well, we're going to start drawing it at the y-intercept. And remember, this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. And we know that our y-intercept is at 0. So we know it crosses the y-axis, this y-axis here. We don't know if the line is going to go up and down like this, or have a negative slope like this. But we do know it's going to cross right there. Now we know that the slope is 7/10. So that means it's going to go up 7 over 10. All right, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit to make our life a little bit easier. And so it's going to go up 7. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it's going to go over 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right here is where our point is going to go, right here. That's our next point. Now, if we wanted to, we could go backwards. We could kind of like backtrack it. We could go down 7 and backwards 10. And if we were to do that, it would go right here. That's where our dot would go. And there is our line right here. And that line is y is equal to 7/10 x. So what's the equation? Y is equal to 7/10 x, and it says we're supposed to choose a graph, but you're going to choose the one that looks like this. So here again, we're being asked to come up with the slope-intercept formula. So that's going to be y is equal to mx plus b for this line. All right, for the line, but this time they're giving us data in the form of a table. And so this first point right here is representing 0, 8. All right, and then the next point is 1, 10, and then the next point is 2, 12. And so what we're going to do is we need to locate these points on the graph. All right, so 0, 8. Okay, I'm going to get this guy out of the way for a second. So 0, 8, that's going to go right here. There's our y-intercept, isn't it? And then 1, 10 is going to go right here. And so I will put my dot right there. And then 2, 12 is actually going to go off my screen, but that's all right. It's going to go basically right about there. There is my line. All right, and so that's what the line is going to look like. So we need to use this information to figure out, first off, we need to use our information to find our slope. So I'm going to zoom in, and I can see that we have a nice, easy way to see our slope. It's right here. Going from this dot here to this dot here, it's a rise of 2 and a run of 1. So our slope is a rise of 2 and a run of 1. So our slope is 2. All right, so going back over here to our formula, since we know that our slope is 2, we know our equation is going to be 2x. And now we have to decide about our y-intercept. And our y-intercept is this point right here. And that point is 8. It crosses at 8 because this point tells us so. So it's going to be y is equal to 2x plus 8. And that is our formula. This problem is the exact same. So we have y is equal to mx plus b, and we want to graph these points. So we have, let's see, our first point is going to be negative 2, 2. And how did I get that? Because I'm looking right here, negative 2, 2, and that's going to basically be somewhere down here. And then we have 0, 6. So that's going to be 0, 6, and that's going to be up here. And then our last point is going to be 2, 10, 2, 10, and that's going to be way over here. So let's get those plotted. So let's see, we have negative 2, 2 is going to be right there. Whoa. Negative 2, 2. And then 0, 6 is going to go right here. And then 2, 10 is going to go right there. So that is our line. That's what the line is going to look like. Now, in order to find our slope, we need to zoom in and take a look at 2 of those points. And it doesn't matter which 2 we choose. So I'm going to, oops. And I'm going to go from this dot, rise, and then our run. All right, so our rise is, looks like it's going to be a rise of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a rise of 4 and a run of 2. All right, so it's a rise of 4 and a run of 2. Whoa. So our slope is a rise of 4, a run of 2, which reduces to 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. So far, way over here, our formula is y is equal to 2x. And now we have to decide about our y-intercept. And we can see that our y-intercept is right here at 6, positive 6. So that means our formula is going to have a positive 6 or a plus 6. And there's our point slope equation. And one last problem. Again, we're finding that slope-intercept formula. So it's going to be y is equal to mx plus b. And this is really handy because they give us all the information that we need. So our slope is 3/4 because it says so right here, so that we replace the m with 3/4. Our y-intercept is a positive 5, so we replace the intercept with positive 5, and so there is our equation. And if we wanted to graph it, what would it look like? Well, the y-intercept would be at 5, and that's right here. And then it's going to be up 3 over 4, up 3 over 4. So let's do that, and it's going to be up 3 over 4 right there. And if you don't believe me, it's going to start down here. It's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 3 over 4. And if we wanted to, we could backtrack that. We could go down 3 and over 4, backwards 4. And there we did a little bit of backtracking. And that is our line, although I'm not sure if the directions on this problem say we have to draw the line, but that's what the line would look like. And that wraps up this video.